Hello again, students. Now we're going to learn about phonics. We're going to go to our phonics lesson. And we have some new things to learn today. First thing I want to talk to you about and remember are some letters from last year. Last year you learned about, all the letters in the alphabet. And this year we're just remembering them. First one I want to talk about is the letter K. I hope you're all saying this with me. K says K, as in kite. K says K, as in kite. K says K, K, K. Okay, remember how we did this with other letters? Well, let's just do it all together. Again, we have 3 new letters. We're going to practice so that we remember the sounds as well as talking about blends for some of these letters. Okay, so let's say it again for the letter K. K says K, as in kite. K says K, K, K. The next one is X. X says X, as in fox, box, axe. X says X, X, X. Okay. And the last one for today is Q. Q says Q, as in queen. Q says Q, Q, Q. Now remember, whenever we have the letter Q, there will always be the letter U after. So whenever we write Q, you can't see. Whenever you see the letter Q, always remember that after Q, there will be the letter U. Okay? That is something that you will need to remember. Okay? Now, let's talk a little bit about blends. So we learned about the letter K, X, and Q. So K, for blends, we can have any letter, any vowel can follow the letter K. But now when we talk about X, X is a very special letter. The letter X has no blends because the X makes the sound X, and it usually comes at the end of a word, not at the beginning. So the vowel or the letter X has no blends. Okay? And Q, the only blend Q has is QU, like I wrote on the board before. QU. That's the only blend for Q. So Q will always have the letter U after it. After that, we can add another letter. For example, queen. You would spell that Queen. But after Q, the only letter that you will see is U. Okay? So that is something that we need to remember, that X has no blends because it goes at the end of the word. If you see these words at the bottom, they all have X at the end. So X has no blends. And Q always has a U after the letter. Q is followed by U. Okay? Now, let's look at the big letter K and C that I have on the board. We're going to learn a new rule. It's called the CK rule. Okay? So listen carefully as I read it, and then we will talk about it. Or as I say it, and then we will talk about it. K, the letter K, comes before I and E. C before the other 3, A, O, U. K comes before I and E. C before the other 3, A, O, U. So whenever we have the letter K and we want to spell a word, and at the end, or after K, the next letter, we need to figure out what letter comes before K. So if we have a word and we need to know, does it say the K it says the k sound at the end. But is it k as in C or k as in K? So this is going to help us. This rule is going to help us. So when there's an I or an E before the k sound, that means the last letter is going to be a K. So whenever we see I or E, that's why I drew the letter K, and I wrote I, E. So if we see I or E, that means the letter is going to be K. C goes before the other three. So if we use the two, we have a total of 5 vowels. Remember that? And if we use I and E over here with the letter K, that means the other three, which is A, O, U, will come before C. Okay? So K comes before I and E, C before the other three, A, O, U. You will see this more on the whiteboard in class, hopefully already, once we have class. So I will keep reminding you about it, and we will keep learning about it. But make sure that you remember that this is very important, and it will help you in spelling. Okay? So remember that K comes before I and E. C before the other three, A, O, U. Okay, remember that's a very important rule. So remember that. And that'll make it easier for you when you need to spell. And now, the last thing that we are going to talk about for today is going to be the words that I have at the bottom. As I talked about before, X has no blends. So if we look at these words at the bottom, X is always at the end, all the time, because it doesn't have a blend. So make sure that you always remember that X has no blends, and it's always going to be at the end of the word, not at the beginning. Okay? That is it for phonics today. I hope you are all listening. If you need to watch the video again, please do so. That way you will remember more of what you need to know. And I will see you guys in class very soon, hopefully.